This is a Peanuts book called Here's to You, America. Good grief! In 1787, America was a mess. Winning the Revolutionary War was hard enough. Now the 13 states were taking their first steps towards becoming the United Nation. They had decided on a government, or risk turning into a lawless land where no one would be safe. On May 25th, everyone was busy, especially the Peanuts gang. On top of their usual chores, Charlie Brown and his friends had to clean up the Appendix Hall in Philadelphia, where a secret meeting was being held to create the new government. Linus ran through the door of Charlie Brown's cabin. "Come on, we're late!" "All right, everybody. Here are our jobs for the convention," Linus announced. "Marcy and Peppermint Patty will be in charge of bringing water to the delegates." "What's a delegate?" asked Peppermint Patty. "A delegate is a representative of this convention. We'll have several delegates from each state," Linus explained. He then turned to Snoopy. "You be the watchdog. This secret convention is not to open to the public. Only 55 delegates will be here," Linus continued. "Lucy, you need to mop the floor. Sally, your job is to see that all the inkwells are kept full." Sally winked at Linus. "Whatever, sweet Babu." "What about me?" Charlie Brown asked. "What's my job?" "You can be in charge of valet parking." Just then, a big white horse toddled up. Charlie Brown took the reins and looked up at the tall man standing confidently toward the convention hall. "That's General George Washington," Linus said. "He's going to lead the convention." Charlie Brown felt proud to even be near the hero's horse without the brave and brilliant general. The America might never have won its freedom from England. Unfortunately, Snoopy didn't recognize General Washington. He growled fiercely and blocked the door. "No, Snoopy, let him in!" Linus yelled. Oh, Snoopy. "What's this convention all about?" Charlie Brown asked Linus. Linus explained since the winning its independence, America has been loose collection of 13 states. To become the great country, the states would have to unite under one central government. "The trouble is that some states want different things," Linus said. "Some people think that the central government should be powerful. Others think that the states should be left to rule themselves." The convention began with a discussion about dividing the government into different parts called branches. One branch is the legislative, would make the laws. Another branch is the judicial, that would enforce the laws. Third branch, the executive, would oversee it all. But how would ordinary citizens participate in the legislative branch? Roger Sherman from Connecticut thought the people should be kept out of the government as much as possible. James Madison of Virginia disagreed. He felt that the people had to vote at least for one branch, or it wouldn't be free for government at all. Linus agreed with Madison. Like a good climbing tree, the American government needed at least one branch close enough to the ground for ordinary citizens to reach their votes. As the argument heated up, the morning sun beat through the windows and turned the hall into a furnace. Linus' head started to spin. Was What was fair? What was right? Which system would help preserve justice and freedom? Linus suddenly realized he was very thirsty. He figured the delegates must be thirsty too. Linus poked his head outside to call for water. Peppermint Patty and Marcy were ready. At least they thought they were. The girls reached for their pails, and they were empty. "Hey, they're empty!" Peppermint Patty exclaimed. Peppermint Patty and Marcy hurried back to the well to refill their pails. They raced back to the convention hall. Building a democracy thirsty work. After many days, the delegates finally decided that there should be two parts of the legislative branch, the House of Representatives and the Senate. The people should vote for the House of Representatives, and the number of members would be determined according to the population of each state. The second half, the Senate, would be different. Members would be elected by state assemblies. There would be an equal number of senators for each state, no matter how big and small the state was. Some delegates thought the House and Senate needed to be balanced by a single leader president who would head the executive branch. "I think it should be a queen," Lucy declared. "A beautiful, clean queen." They struggled to decide what kind of leader a freed country needed, and how a leader should be chosen. Many voices shouted at once. George Washington pounded his gavel. Linus is worried. "They can't seem to agree on anything." "I think we're in big trouble, sir." "What does it all mean?" Peppermint Patty asked. Linus shrugged. "If they can't work out a compromise, the whole convention may fail without laws to protect people and property, and system to enforce laws, and our country will be a mess." The arguments went on. The hot Philadelphia summer, day after a humid day, a week after a steamy week, the Peanuts gang witnessed the nation's slow struggle to create its own government. Sally tiptoed between the shouting delegates to fill their inkwells. All the delegates cared very deeply about the government, but they did care enough to compromise. But did they care enough to compromise and reach an agreement? The Peanuts gang arrived, tired and worried. "We've been working at this convention for almost 2 months," Peppermint Patty said. She had walked the water into the well too many times to count. "Do you think everything is going to fail, Linus?" Marcy asked. Linus sighed. "I hear that every day some of the delegates threaten to quit and go home. No one seems to know what's going to happen." Lucy shook her head. "If they would just elect a beautiful queen, that would solve everything." Oh my God. But for a long time, nothing was solved. It seemed that the Peanuts gang would spend the rest of their lives cleaning the convention hall and listening to delegates. 3 months felt like thirsty. The delegates had finally reached that one leader would be elected, the president. Not two, nor three leaders, and not a king or a queen. Now they had to work on the judicial branch. I think that's how it's pronounced. Charlie Brown hoped the delegates would stop at 3 branches. If they tried for a whole tree, this convention would never end. Charlie Brown got his wish. The delegates settled on the 3 branches of the government. And on September 17th, almost 4 long months after the convention began, they signed a document explaining how those branches would balance each other out. It was called the Constitution. At least we don't have to carry any more buckets, Peppermint Patty said. Everyone seemed very happy, but Charlie Brown was still confused. The night he asked, "Linus, what does all this mean?" Linus took out a roll of paper. "Well, let me read you what they wrote, Charlie Brown," he said. "We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America." Linus smiled. "And that's what freedom is all about, Charlie Brown." Peppermint Patty said, "I bet those delegates were glad to finally go home." Linus sighed. "The trouble is that their work has only begun. In order to make it the law of the land, the delegates must get 9 out of 13 states to approve the Constitution. That may take months, even years, or it may never happen." "The government doesn't seem to be an easy business," Charlie Brown observed. Linus agreed. "Freedom isn't a very easy business either, Charlie Brown." But finally, on June 21, 1788, New Hampshire cast a deciding vote to approve the Constitution. The United States has become truly united, and the best was yet to come. In the years that followed, the Constitution helped to keep the American government just as the nation's founded intended, and to make America a land of freedom and justice for all. And that's the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications.